I'm Professor Bury from Western Michigan University, Thomas M. Cooley Law School, where I've been teaching for 17 years. This is my second video in my brain training series. Once again, I have a German Shepherd, a very mischievous German Shepherd on my hands, so she's part of the show. Last time, in episode 1, we talked about how when we come into law school, we sort of have to give up on our opinions. Come on, stop. Shh. And again, that sounds kind of harsh, right? But out in the world, outside of the walls of the hallowed halls of law school, we are taught that we are entitled to an opinion. You get to law school and you find out nobody's entitled to an opinion. We don't have opinions, we have conclusions, and conclusions are based on something that I'm going to beat to death, which is the application of rules to facts. So that's how we operate. When my mother told me I was entitled to an opinion, she meant it. I have unfortunately had a judge say the same thing to me. Well, counselor, you're entitled to your opinion. As you might imagine, when a judge says that to you, you've lost your case. So you don't want to hear that from a judge. You're entitled to your opinion, because you're not. Okay. Second thing I want to talk about, before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we really do and how we do it and the formula for doing it, we have to get out of the habit, right, of trying to persuade with two things. Number one is repetition, and the other thing is volume, right? That's how we persuade in marketing and politics and advertising. We are bombarded with noise, right, all the time, right? Just images and information. One thing I want to point out is as we are perceiving the world around us, right? Again, it's one thing to do that in general, and another thing to do that when you become a lawyer and start thinking this way. Information is not knowledge or truth. Information is just either a data point or a collection of data points, right? And a data point is not a rational idea. It's just a piece of information. We are so overwhelmed in our culture now with just collecting information, right, and the rapid exposure, right, to different data points, that sometimes we don't lean heavily enough on rational thought, the logic and reasoning, and all that good stuff. So marketing, how does this work? And we're taught that it works, and we see that it works. A marketer will try to persuade this way by coming up with either an image or a slogan or something like that, right? So, but something that is short, pithy, easily understood, right, and something that stands out. And the way I look at that is basically fit it on a bumper sticker, right? Whatever your message is, fit it on a bumper sticker. After that, what we do is we repeat it over and over and over again, and there's something about the human psyche that we start to think, if somebody's told me this 57 times, it must be right. Which of course is not so. So this idea of repeating yourself over and over again, I want to be careful about how I put this. If you're arguing to a jury or even to a panel of judges, it is not wrong to once in a while repeat your strongest point, right? Maybe put a different spin on it. But you certainly don't want to do that in law school, and that's a distinction I want to make here. Here, I'm not talking about arguing to a jury. I'm talking about writing an analysis that is going to get you credit. And your audience, you're supposed to pretend that your law professor doesn't know anything about the area of law that you're being tested on, but you are not supposed to write in a way where it looks like you're assuming that the law professor has nothing else to do except write the same thing over and over again. You don't need to do that on a law school exam. You do not need to repeat yourself. Once you have said it, you move on. I would say that in court it's the same thing. If you just if you repeat your main point once or twice, okay. You start repeating 3 or 4 times, you're going to get judges very irritated. So we don't do that. That's not what we do. We also don't do the volume thing. I wish I could say that I've never seen a lawyer behave like this or look like this. Unfortunately, I cannot say that. But those lawyers are ostracized. Those lawyers have bad reputations. Those lawyers do not have the respect of the bar. So on cable news, people shout over each other. That's how they make their points, right? Whoever can make sure the other person isn't heard wins the argument. And you're not going to see that in a law school classroom, or at least you shouldn't see that in a law school classroom, and you're certainly not going to see that in a court of law. We approach things quietly. Now, where this is all heading right? Because you might be sick of it by now. Okay, you keep telling us what we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to have opinions. We're not supposed to repeat ourselves. We're not supposed to raise our voices. One more point on that, don't do that on paper either, right? There are ways to shout on paper, exclamation points and bold and underlined, right? We don't, that's not what we do. Okay, so where this is headed is what we do. What we do is primarily use a mechanism called deductive logic, which is based on something called a deductive syllogism, right? And so we are gonna, in future videos, break it down. I promise in the next video, I'm gonna stop talking about what we're not supposed to do, and I'm gonna start talking about, here is the formula. As some of my students have said in the past, the keys to the kingdom. So I look forward to seeing you the next time when we take a brief and basic look at the deductive syllogism. See you then.